Fauci and Gates, they're on the ropes now. Oh, Fauci and Gates, they're on the ropes now. People are saying they're not taking the jab now. They're not taking the jab now. Fauci and Gates. Hey. Fauci and Gates now. They're on the ropes now. Oh, Tony and Bill, they're on the ropes now. Hey, welcome.
Hey,
Welcome to
welcome.
Welcome to the program. The program. All right. Well, the heading for tonight's program is global financial theft. How come I can't remember? I can't remember now. Something about global financial theft by the
They're
Cabal.
stealing everything.
They're just stealing everything.
Period.
They're stealing everything. More and more people are saying, hey, we have, this woman, I think her name is Zhang. This woman is supposed to be like a financial guru.
Jeanette Zhang?
Yeah, Jeanette Zhang says, oh, this is a perfect cover for a global financial reset and theft and things of that nature. Of course, we spoke yesterday. We spoke about Kiyosaki saying that he's been getting death threats because he's been talking about the possibility that this was just engineered, convenient happening that has allowed that they're trying to cover up all of this. Banking fraud, all these things that, of course, Max Kaiser has pointed out, but for some reason, I don't think he wants to lose his standing. He doesn't want to get any death threats, so he doesn't talk about the possibility that this was just such a convenient thing to happen.
He's gonna corral people into the Bitcoin scheme, which is just gonna allow them to steal huge amounts of money because there's no they're doing it. They're stealing Bitcoin at a rate of what, $10 million a day? I've read.
Oh, I didn't know that. I mean, you were telling me before that it's very hackable and very open to.
Well, there's no prosecutions. Okay, so you have a wallet, you put it on your phone, on your smartphone.
Right.
Your carrier has access to everything on your phone.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So when you put your wallet on your phone because you're actively using it because they promote it as a tool that you can use with, on your computer or on your phone, your ISP with your computer company. If you have it on your hard drive, they can find it and steal it, and nobody's prosecuting the money that's being, or the Bitcoins that are being stolen.
Right.
And it's never been prosecuted for it.
Yeah, and this was going on. I remember reading stories about how they were just throwing fucking rolls of toilet paper across the room for the next lockdown. One thing there will not be a deficit of. And I just remember seeing stories of that people's Bitcoin, their phones are being hacked, their coins are being stolen, their electronic money, and then I keep hearing more. I saw what's his name, Ben Swan, who had he's been doing a lot of really good stuff talking about the Moderna, the fraud, all the conflicts of interest. He's a good egg, it seems. And then he just had recently some guy on there that was talking about a different kind of currency, a different kind of crypto that's not exactly Bitcoin, but it's something else. And I forget what it was. But a lot of people are looking at that Kiyosaki, saying, I got my gold. I got this Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad radio podcast. He's like, I got my gold, I got my silver. Why do I sound like a Jew? So he's got that, and he's got that, and he's got his Bitcoin. So he's making. I guess he's trying to make it. Trying to protect himself across the board, which
and look, I'm not opposed to Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong.
Is there a way? There's got to be a way to
steer people away from
solidify it. There's got to be a way to protect it.
Extremely careful.
Yeah,
and make sure that you can never use it without a VPN.
Okay.
All right. Never use it without having certain firewalls. Never keep it on your hard drive. Always keep it on a zip drive.
Right.
And take necessary steps. It's like changing your passwords every week. If you stay ahead of it, change, and keep them off balance, they won't do it. But, if you even slip up for a little bit, particularly if you're using it on your mobile phone,
right?
It's T-Mobile, it's AT&T, it's Verizon. Those they're doing it.
Yeah, they're all global.
Without prosecution, they're basically giving people the keys. They're saying, oh, these many account holders, they come in and steal just a little bit, like, one coin. Might be a little something. You don't know. You're not tracking. Right? A little bit here, a little bit there. You take what is a Bitcoin, $11,000 a coin now?
Right, like the Office Space guys. Oh, it's just going to be little pennies here, every transaction.
Right. And then when you go into your wallet's been cleaned out, and you're like, what the hell? And you call the cell phone, your carrier, and they go, oh, well, we're not responsible for that.
Right.
Like, bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course they are. It's on their system. And unless you're really strong and you can get to New York and you can go to the headquarters and stare them down,
Yeah,
there's people. There are people that this has happened to.
That you said that have successfully gotten their money back, but they had to jump through some hoops to get it back. Right?
They had to do some things that most people would find very uncomfortable. They had to put themselves they just basically had to. It's like going into court and going in as a state citizen as opposed to a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know the language. You have to know the legalese they're throwing at you and understand where they're trying to get you to accept an offer. And then once you accept that offer, they got you. They basically have stolen your money. But if you know what you're doing, and everybody who is into Bitcoin should study this. Okay? Mm-hmm. I know a guy who's a guy that I know, his friend, this happened to, who was on a radio show. He was on his radio program, and he discusses all this.
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody's interested, you can drop us a message or an email or something, and we can make the connection, or at least point you to that show, which will give you some direction on how you handle this.
Okay.
Because he's one of the very few people that have actually gotten his money back. I mean, very, very. It's like 98% are not going to get their money back.
Right. So you have
to. But that's the game they play. They know that 2% of the people out there are going to call them on their BS and know how to handle it. And so you pay those people back. It's the cost of doing business. So what?
Right. Yeah, and then they just they know that it's there, and they're gonna pick from it, and they know that the public
They'll leave you alone if you go on the list of, hey, don't bother this guy. You know.
Right. I mean, most people are.
They're gonna steal some of it from you at some point. Expect it.
Yeah.
Don't get into it unless you expect you're gonna have Bitcoin stolen from you. You better know how to deal with that. Because if you are going to use that even as like, hey, I've put thousands of dollars into this, there's no legal authority that is willing to take it on. Trump has not. One of his failures as president, when he says he's draining the swamp, he's done two things. He's done nothing, absolutely nothing,
right,
to weed out the corruption in the Department of Justice and with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh yeah, I mean this has been going on.
If he was to do that, that would go against all of his Bolshevik buddies on Wall Street.
That's right. And I mean then, and all the presidents have all done this. He's no different. He's just more of the same, and he's in the spotlight now because it's happening on his watch.
I'm going to qualify that. I'm going to say we're going to see, because if something is going to get done, he's got between now and election day to do it. Otherwise, he's not going to motivate his base to get back to the polls for him.
Right.
Because he's not giving them enough. The QAnons making claims that he, through his executive orders and all the various language that he's using,
right,
that's not getting out there. Speaking in parables to people, people want results.
Sure,
they're tired of this crap, and they want some results. They don't want lip service. They don't want trust the plan. That worked for a little while. Now it's time to deliver. If you don't deliver, you're not going to give people that motivation to say, well, he may not be perfect, but he's better than the other guy, and we better make sure he wins. And so all of those millions upon tens of millions of people that went to the polls, that they went and voted in droves, okay? And he didn't win by, the biggest farce the media pushes is that Hillary won the popular vote. It's the biggest crock of shit. There's no way.
Yeah,
she got smoked. He definitely got probably 70% of the popular vote easily.
Right. Yeah, she's garbage. But there's a lot of stupid people out there. There's a lot of stupid people that don't understand how the system works, and these are the people that are wearing masks in their car. They don't understand what's happening. I get the fear, but just like anything else that they've done, it's always about creating fear, but deceiving people in a way that they're afraid of the wrong thing. Right now, people should be deathly afraid that the economy is going to just bottom out. Like I said before, the story that I told about the woman. I said if they take this more than 2 weeks and 3 weeks and 4 weeks, there's not going to be an economy. They're going to crash the economy. And the woman said, "Oh, what good is the economy if half your family's dead?" Well, that's just the selfishness of the American idiot, right? Just like the Green Day song, "Don't want to be an American idiot." What does it
matter? The means to which you feed your family, the means that actually provides you the ability to live.
Yeah.
So if the economy goes, your ability to live, you're going to die. It's just that simple. Like,
yeah.
What do you expect? When they have feminized everything, you basically you've turned something that should be thought of rationally, and you've turned it into an emotional issue. Oh, what good is it if your family dies? That's purely an emotional issue.
Yeah, but that's
an emotional way of thinking about it.
Right. And here's
your
something
family
else.
Dies. Yeah. Your family's going to die if the economy dies. Are you serious?
People have never experienced it. I've never experienced it. All I can,
coronavirus is nothing compared to what happens when the economy collapses.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
And this one guy, I forget who it was. I forget what show I was listening to, but the one guy said, the government's not going to let things crash. They're going to do their best to not, let hyperinflation, or they're more scared of deflation. I mean, I still don't really understand money. That's your game plan there. But, it's, the thing is that the people that have put us in this position get to decide, how to, they get to decide what happens. They're like, okay, well, we can rob you and rob you and rob you.
Our moral authority.
Yeah, we can rob you and rob you and rob you, and then
we tell them we want capitalism. Well, what's capitalism? Capitalism is legalized usury and sodomy.
Yeah.
Well, people running around saying, "Oh, I'm a capitalist." Well, forgive them for they not know what they're saying or they not know what they do.
That's right.
You don't want to be a capitalist. You want to be, entrepreneurial free enterprise. That's what you want.
Yeah.
You want to bring back corporate charters that if corporations don't follow the rules or don't serve the needs of the community and the state and the country as a whole, they don't put those as their top priority.
Right.
Then they lose their charter.
Yeah.
In this way, you wouldn't have the exporting of our industry to foreign countries to offshore our inflation, which is just labor.
Right.
You'd have to honestly you'd have to come to grips with the fact that all value is derived from the labor. It's the production of the goods and services that gives them value.
Right.
Not some banker monetizing slips of paper and trading them on an open market with a bunch of degenerate gamblers.
Sure.
That brings value to it. And so what they're trying to say is, oh, this system of degenerate gambling is a valuable system. No, it's vice. It's like falling in love with a prostitute.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's just like, if we can have capitalism, right? If somebody will say, capitalism is fine, but they don't care that it's destroying lives in some other aspect of society. As long as people it's the selfishness. The capitalist is just as selfish as the woman that says, what good is an economy if half your family's dead? It's just as selfish. It's this selfish ego that is as people thinking that they that. I mean, if you look at Trump, right? How many people does Donald Trump know and communicate with? I mean, if he reached out and just tweeted out and said, "Does how many people out there know somebody who died of a coronavirus or somebody who was sick?" I mean, just a poll. Do you know people that were sick that got over it? I mean, every year you'll hear somebody say, "Oh yeah, a buddy of mine, got real sick." I mean, real sick. Okay, it's just something that happens every year. Well, what they've done is they label something like John Rappaport. I listened to a breakdown of the entire back in April, like halfway through April when the lockdown was new, and he said, they just labeled it. They knew exactly what they were doing. Even Jones said something about those videos of people just falling down on the street or just people walking and then falling down. He said it was all like recorded like theater, like to make it look like people were just dropping dead. Just imagine a bunch of criminal organizations that said, how can we sell this to a global population? How do we sell this to a population like the United States? Mystery Babylon. Oh, we'll just show them pictures of actors falling over in the street, saying, "Oh, look, that guy, he was walking down the street and he just fell over."
That's it.
Yeah. And now you have guys like Del Bigtree over at thehighwire.com. He's been banned. There was a story about him on Media Matters. Next thing you know, he's banned from a lot of these from a lot of these platforms. And then, I watch, I listen to his program. It's like every Thursday at like 2 Eastern. He does the High Wire show. And he talked about being on with Jones now. So he's going to be working. Well, I don't know if he's going to be working with Jones, but a lot of his videos are going to go over to that banned.video. He just spoke about a lot of people that have been banned. Brian Rose, he's, they're trying to build a platform now. They're trying to build their own media platform. So, this guy's really, I mean, if he's on the level, which I feel like, at this point, I hope that there's some powerful voices out there that are going to say something, like this. He's on the High Wire. It's a pro-vax leaders issue warning for COVID-19 vaccine. He was saying today that like 50 plus % people said that they would not be taking the vaccine. So, I mean, they're losing ground. Fauci and Gates are losing ground. They're controlling this, and you know what? I look at the whole fucking Trump thing with the hydrochloroquine or something. I just not buying it anymore. I'm just not buying it that was not a scripted thing. Like, we don't want hydrochloroquine to be out there. So what do we do? What are we going to do? We're gonna Trump will say that he's taking it or something like that. So that way you'll get you'll get the psychos out there to be like, oh no, hydrochloroquine's not the answer, so you get half the people and then you divide people. All it takes is to say that Trump is for something, and then right away half of the people are against it. And then it just becomes a shaming tactics and all of these other things. So, there's just so much insanity going on. And, so what's the,
they use reverse psychology all the time.
Yep. Yeah, it's just controlling the
puppets. I don't question it works. The degree to which, because I'm not a doctor, but I work with them.
Right.
And a lot of them are saying, yeah, absolutely it does. I mean, if you take supplements, take them with quinine.
What was that?
There's something in the quinine. It's hydrochloroquine. It's quinine.
Say that again? So the quinine, isn't that stuff that's in the Schweppes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you want a good quality water as opposed to something that's loaded with sugars. It all has sugar in it, but something that's not high fructose corn sugar. If you can get one and it's hard to find in the store, but now they're coming out with them. There's this brand, I forget the name, and it's like for a 4-pack, 4 small bottles. I mean, they're like 6-ounce bottle.
Right.
It's like $5 at Walmart.
And it's got quinine, and that's the same thing. That's the same thing as the chloroquine.
Yeah. With zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, any supplement. Just when you take the supplements, take it with, drink it with the quinine. The quinine, your receptors once in your blood, right?
Yeah.
And it allows absorption, maximizes the absorption of the. So, saying it's something simple can do. You don't have to do a clean with the zinc or this whatever. If you're just an average person, a preventative measure, you can do that, and it's a lot cheaper than what they're proposing.
Right.
Might cost you, if you're going to drink 1 bottle of it a day, drink with your supplements.
Wow.
If you get the good quality stuff, you're going to spend what?
Yeah. Well, what I think is happening here with the people that are getting sick are these people have been vaccinated with something, because Big Tree was saying something about the tests that they were doing. They did tests on ferrets, and they injected them with this vaccine or whatever for coronavirus type stuff. But then they exposed the ferrets to the virus, and they all had friggin' cytokine storms and fucking died. So I think if these people were dying, it was because they were injected. Especially these older people in these elder care facilities were injected with some of these trivalent flu shots, and they were injected with something that, when introduced with some other binary element, killed them.
Mm-hmm. Would be a trigger.
Yeah, a binary weapon.
Yep.
And that's what, and that is what, whatever they're working on is going to be as well. Maybe not all of it, maybe not. I mean, if there's enough pushback, they may not ever find one. They may not ever make one. If there's enough pushback. Yeah, they may never find one, because I mean, there's just so much negativity. I mean, that video with Norah O'Donnell where she's like, you know, talking to sociopath boy Bill Gates, who everybody. Most people just absolutely fucking hate him, justifiably, and they probably don't even know why. And it's a good instinct, because he's a piece of shit, and we know that he's a piece of shit. Back in 2010, 2012, when he was started attending these Bilderberg meetings, when the lists came out for the Bilderberg attendees, and he was on them. We knew that he was. We know that these Bilderberg groups have nothing to do with the benefiting mankind going forward. They have nothing to do with that, because David Rockefeller, when he was alive, if his his death was faked or whatever, that guy had never had any. You know, he spoke about, and the same thing with Henry Kissinger. They said, if there was something fucked up happening that we did, the people will scream for the New World Order. Well, that's what they got these people looking forward to now. Like, we're going to save you. Like, no, they don't care about you. They do not care about you and your family. You know this. I know this. And now we're seeing that their media, and the mainstream media, is just in lockstep with all of these organizations, and they're lying to the people. And what is more of a threat? What is scarier? A coronavirus that you don't know whether it will kill you or not, or if somebody walks up to you and tells you, hey, they're fucking lying to you, and they want you to think and be in fear so that they can do something to you next. What's scarier? What's easier for people to believe or accept? The fact that this virus evolved, and then it's killing 0.26 of the population, or world government, dark suits, Luciferians looking to kill people, like over in the UK. Big Tree pointed out, he spoke to this woman Ellie something. Apparently they had like 100,000 people marching in the streets over there, saying,
today.
I don't know if it was today or was it within the last couple of weeks. I didn't see the most recent show. I want to say last Thursday. Every Thursday is his show, so he spoke to her last Thursday. So maybe it was a weekend prior to that. But, I mean, the numbers of people, like the crowds through the streets with pictures of Bill Gates and pictures of, like, this isn't my new normal, go fuck yourself, that type of shit. So, there's more, you know what I mean? There's going to, and no matter what we're doing online, they hear it. Take your fucking foot off the pedal, because I don't care what you think that you're going to fucking do to people, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. You're going to kill some people, but you are not going to fucking win. There are way, way too fucking many of us. You might as well just fucking get out there and spray fucking death down on people and kill them in fucking mass, because you are not going to win unless you fucking pull the fucking trigger. And that's what they did here. They put this little thing out, if it's even real. And I know people have a problem with that, but the virus still has not been isolated. And we know that this World Economic Forum, you spoke about their website and how they got all these layers of things that could not have possibly been created in the last 5 or 6 months. This was planned for a long time. This is where they want to take people. And if people want to go there, fuck them. Fuck them. If this is their new normal and they want to wear a mask and they're living in fear, you're already fucking dead. Kill yourself. Fucking kill yourself. Because we don't need you. We don't fucking need those types of people. Sorry to have to say that, but you know, if that's who you are and you haven't figured out the media's game, the mainstream media's game, you know, as Americans, and if you believe in American exceptionalism, you're, you know, it's just a game, and yeah, we were born here, and we benefited from it, right? That's the same thing as the guy, the capitalist, who says, "Oh yeah, I want to be able to do this and I want to be able to do that," but yeah, you know, the sodomy and all this other shit's going to happen, you know, no matter whether there's capitalism there or not. These people don't care as long as they get theirs. And then sooner or later, look at Biden, right? Biden's played this game his whole fucking life. Walking the devil's dog, sucking the devil's dick, and then his son fucking dies of a brain tumor, right? So his connection to evil took out one of his sons. I'm sure he loves his family. I mean, there's, you know, but his
maybe he loves them a little. Maybe he loved them all a little bit too much. We don't.
So I don't want to think about that, but
you know, like, would it be shock?
Oh no,
shock?
I don't think so. I think he's a sociopath. There's no doubt in my mind he's a sociopath, and because he's a sociopath, that makes him very, very useful to you know, the demons and the Luciferians that own and control America, and Trump. Sorry, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Trump knows a lot of people. Do you think that, you know, he might just have a press conference and be like, you know what, I know a lot of people, and I've been in contact with a lot of people. I've been dialing a lot of phones with my tiny little hands. And I don't know anybody who's all these people. I don't know anybody who died, and I don't know anybody's this. Like, he knows that that there's something wrong with this, but
they would you know, they would lambaste him if he did anything like that. I wouldn't suggest that he'd do that. Okay,
you wouldn't suggest that he say
stop.
Yeah,
just basically at this point say, okay, what he says, sit down with his advisor. Get rid of Ivanka, get rid of, right? Out of your administration. You have no business being there to begin with. This is not a nepotism contest.
Who's got no business being
there? Derek Kushner.
Oh yeah,
and Ivanka Trump.
Yeah, they have everything they need. They need to go away. Steve Mnuchin probably should go away too.
Yeah, they have nothing to offer, and it makes you look real bad. And his Kushner's connections to B'nai B'rith.
Yeah.
Think about a Bolshevik organization.
Sure.
And his relationship, I'm talking about Trump, with basically card-carrying boys like Netanyahu, like the laundry list of Ashkenazis that are made that are posted throughout his administration. They're not his friends.
No, he's just a tool. Yeah. He's a tool for them.
So it's like, is that with quid quo pro? In now you have to. Yeah, there's a great of that goes on in politics, president politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those people, they're not his friends, and they're going to work against him while he's doing it. But you know, it's time for results. It's past due, long past due.
Well, a lot of people will say that Trump has delivered.
One thing, if pulled off something that led to, let's say, the arrest of Hillary and Bill Clinton, or something along those lines, so that he would re-energize all the Q-tards out. All right, that have finally been by all this. He's lost the Q80 community is probably 50% than it was a year ago.
Right.
The people are tired of hearing tomorrow next week. Trust the plan, all this stuff that they do. And then they just, here's, he's playing chess, he has to do all. These are psychological techniques that are being used on people to give them false hope.
Sure.
And if he can deliver on something, that's exactly what he's down in history for, as a psyop. Somebody was put in place who was able to capture the hearts and minds of the American people that came out and for him and got to the presidency.
Right.
And then did everything that he could to circumvent that relationship. Right. So we have to see. Believe it or not, it's too early to call. I would imagine that if they're going to do something, they want it over, so that the memory, and it doesn't give the Biden camp time to be able to counteract it. And then you go into election day on November 30, you just cream them. Biden is probably the easiest opponent to defeat. I mean, the people that run the Democratic changed out.
Right.
Okay? They're really stupid. Like, who was it in the smoke-filled rooms that said, well, we're going to bring Biden out? Why is dementia? Right? And everybody knows it. He can't carry on an intellectual conversation with anybody. And he
come on, man.
Nominated this woman. He nominated this woman who has zero experience. I mean, you thought Trump didn't have. Trump ran a multi-billion-dollar organization. She was
a lawyer,
a radical left in San Francisco, and she got the job Dick and the mayor of San Francisco.
Right.
She's promoted not because of her skills, not because of her talent, because
what? Your voice is breaking up a bit.
I said she got to be prosecutor of San Francisco.
Right.
Because she blew the mayor of San Francisco.
And who was that? Willie Brown? Willie?
That was the other guy. I forgot his name. Whatever.
Gavin?
He came out even this week. He was laughing about it.
Gavin Newsom?
Was it Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, Gavin Newsom. Well, apparently that's the path. You become mayor, then you become governor if you're in these like 3 or 4 different families that have been raping and pillaging California and San Francisco, Bay Area, and L.A. for years. Now they got that Garcetti guy down there who used to be the chief of police, right? I think he was the police. Now he's the mayor of Shittown, and he won't let anybody do fucking anything because there's cases of that are with a test that's being used that is absolutely worthless, and they're just choking fucking California to death. They're choking the fucking life out of that state by design.
Wow. They want to first they want to steal the technology sector, break it apart, peel off as many of the talented coders, get to Israel, right?
Right.
And institute this Belt and Road Initiative, get the idea, and basically drop the United States like a hot potato. They don't need us.
Right. Yeah, your voice is breaking up
Israel,
real bad. Are you close to you're on wireless there?
I'm on wireless, but can you hear me now? A little better?
Yeah, it's just I don't know whether we're being fucked with or not, but a lot. It's just
we could call back that. You think that would help?
I'm just wondering. Sometimes Wi-Fi's need to be rebooted because they just their bandwidth drops off until they're rebooted. But we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So, Belt and Road. you were talking about Russia and China and Israel, and that America is just going to be, scorched earth.
Right. That's exactly. They will deplete, do the tech transfer complete over to Israel. Israel becomes the technology center of the world, the finance and technology center of the world, and all their go into completing the Belt and Road project,
right?
Which is the railway that connects Asia to Russia to the Middle East to Africa to Europe, and that will eliminate for ocean shipping, which without ocean shipping you don't need a navy.
Right. So America is just basically being destroyed, and that's part of this. That's part of this whole COVID.
Exactly. Get us into a civil war. Bring down the American system from within, destroy it completely morally bankrupt it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it burn for a period of 5 years, and then come back and swoop up all the prime pennies on the dollar slowly. But let 200 million Americans die off. Significantly reduce the population of the hemisphere. You're going to move a bunch of Chinese people here, and they'll decimate the country and do what it is they want to do. And but that's our choice whether we allow that to happen or not.
Well, I mean, when you've got idiot young people, retards, if you will, that there's some mentally challenged people out there that have more sense than these. Then they're getting paid. I mean, there's just no doubt in my mind. A lot of these people at these higher levels are getting paid. And I mean, if we look back at 2008, we look at the slow, since what was 95 when they deregulated Glass-Steagall, and it's just been a fucking shit show of theft and deregulation that brought us to 2008. Nothing was done, and I was saying this to a couple of people. I said nothing was done. Nothing was changed. You got 2008. Nothing was changed in the last 12 years, and they've stolen and they've done all kinds of things that are the exact opposite of what we were told would be done. Right, like you said, the Justice Barr and. That fucking douchebag under Obama, Eric, that fucking
Eric
Holder, that fucking shitheel, and nothing was done. So the woman Zanger said, she said the American people, the people of the world, were not going to put up with another one of these crisis of this fraud of the theft. So this is why. The virus narrative was brought into the mix because they'll always have the plausible deniability. It was the cover. Of it.
I told you that the virus was the story for the plan. The real plan was to crash the stock market, to devalue the corporate bonds, and deplete the pension funds. Force pension funds to sell off the assets for pennies on the dollar.
Force who? What?
On the dollar.
Forced what to sell them?
Come back whole and pay cents on the dollar, which is did. Discussion of this whatsoever from Trump supporters and anything else. It's like, wait a minute. You have companies like Boeing, right? All the blue chip companies, so to speak, right?
Right.
They have all been involved in this whole, which in any other time would have been completely illegal, with their stock buyback schemes.
Yeah.
Where the insiders were selling off their options, their stocks, into the rise, because when they were able to borrow all the money from the Fed came in $1 billion. They used that money to buy the shares and drive the value up, and the value up of their stock they kept using borrowed money to purchase those stock and transfer those funds to those inside players.
So they're never using their own money. They're always using taxpayer dollars and all this other shit to benefit themselves.
Right. So the corporate bonds for Boeing is a good example, because it was that started to creak and was about to collapse back in January, and they had trading on it one day, and the stock had collapsed. And part of it is that the CEOs and the executives had sold their stocks into the market using the stock buyback scheme, and they had depleted the company. This is $137 billion company that does $130 billion in business, all right, on a global basis. And they had run the debts up to $140 billion. It's a company.
Hey, your voice is breaking up real bad. Is there any way you can maybe get to reboot the equipment? Have you done that in a while? Because I've seen that happen. That would happen to me a lot. No, just like a reboot of the modem. Is it like?
Let me call. Hold on 1 second. Let me just fix it. Right? Hold on.
And so, just all of this fraud, all of this absolute financial theft, stealing from everybody. And now they use the virus to cover up for it. And then people, I know exactly why when they say, oh, it's never going away, because they're never going away. That's the problem. They're never going the fuck away, because they know that if people find out that they've stolen everything, and people are going to lose everything, they're going to lose their pensions, they're going to lose their retirements, they're going to lose everything, because these people are fucking killers. That's who the United States presidents have always been. They represent killers. And then we hear, American exceptionalism, and we hear all of this bullshit. And of course, these people on the news and some of these high-level people, they're going to sit there and be like, oh, God bless them, especially the Fox News people. Oh, God bless America, God bless this. Well, they're making tons of money. Of course, America and their lives are fucking great.
Right. So I'm back because my girl was playing a movie.
Okay, yeah.
She was streaming a movie.
Yeah, that'll kill it, man.
So that should help with the bandwidth.
Okay. Yeah, it was just it sounded like something was kind of pulling that down, and you're just when you were getting to some of the most critical stuff, and your voice just disappeared.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, it's better now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know how much bandwidth you have there, but either way, yeah, it definitely sounds better.
Yeah, anyway, what was I saying that you missed?
No, it was just like talking about the Boeing and just
Boeing stock. The Boeing executive CEO for their board of directors and all their executives were selling options into the rise. Boeing was borrowing billions of dollars from the New York Fed and other large commercial banks.
Yep. And
using that money to purchase doing stock buybacks. Well, the stock they were buying back was not generally the investors' shares, though I'm sure a few of them smartly sold their shares into the rise of this. Much of buybacks were just stocks that were stock options that were given to the executives in exchange for salary and compensation.
Right.
Some of these CEOs of these corporations, they were making, $300,000-$400,000 salaries every year. CEO of a Boeing corporation, the CEOs today, they're all making $10 million, $20 million a year, right?
Right.
So they say, well, in lieu of that, we'll just give you stock options. Well, that gives you the opportunity, as long as when under Obama, when they the regulation about trading this stock buybacks, This has been a party that's been going on for years.
Right.
Now, what was the result of that? Corporate bonds. The corporate bonds, Boeing and the other blue chip companies, they were going to collapse. Everybody, we've all heard in the fall with the, Fed involved with. I'm having a mental block on it. You probably can remember.
But I mean, they were. So I think, like what brought about 2008? What brought about? I mean, this is just absolute theft and financial malfeasance that has never ended. It's never ended.
Well,
it's just ongoing, right?
Make it look like child's play.
Well, lately, right? The things that have gone on in the last 10 years, 12 years, or just the things that have gone on and
the things that have gone on since, but particularly now, the things that have happened 2016, 2017.
Right.
Since Trump became president of the United States. Remember the stock market rally that took place after his election?
Yeah, so the rally. So what did that mean? Was that just? I mean, what was the difference between Obama's economy and Trump's economy? Like, what was the difference there?
Nothing. And the CEOs went to town like severely because they knew. Okay, Trump was told this was.
He was told what?
Take place. They were going to collapse the market, and this is the way they were going to do it. And was going to have to. He was going to have to shore up the bond market by purchasing or guaranteeing 100 cents on the dollar all the corporate bonds. So the debt holders, the banks, owing the money to buy the stock, the government came in and said, we'll give you 100 cents on the dollar.
We'll give you what?
100 cents on the dollar. So, okay, you're one of the primary dealers that's selling corporate bonds to pension funds and others, right?
Yeah.
Just follow this transition here. For years, you've been selling these pension funds who are yield starved for their pension holders to bring in enough money to pay them the benefits that they promised their pension holders. And you say one of the best ways you can do it is by having a diversified portfolio, particularly holding particularly blue chip bonds, such as Boeing, right? Such as like Lockheed Martin, all the defense contractors. While that is going on, the bank gave these defense contractors billions of dollars because of the uber low interest rates, right? They're well below the rate of inflation, and because they're all buddies, they all go to the same country clubs,
right?
They all go to the Epstein parties together and stuff like that, right?
Sure.
All of these CEOs were compromised by Epstein and all the rest of them. The scandal is not the politicians. It's the corporation, the CEOs, the board of directors, the upper managements that were corrupted by it. And they were told by the people that controlled Epstein that if they didn't play along, that all this scandal would come out. And it wasn't going to be a mild thing like a Me Too. You're a CEO of a major multinational corporation, and you are on video having sex with a small child. That's pretty damn. Right?
Yeah, that'll make somebody do whatever they're told.
That's right. You do what we tell you, and you'll be just fine. You're going to get out, and you're going to retire from your position, millions of dollars. But you have to do what we tell you to do.
Right.
So they were all told this is how you play it. Why? They didn't care because they're going to juice the market. They were going to come in at the end. The people that was holding that paper that turned to crap when the coronavirus hit, the bonds, they immediately got calls from the broker dealers that sold them the paper to begin and said, "Yeah, wow, it's too bad that this is happening to you. I can help you out. Would you be willing to sell the paper back to us for 30 cents on the dollar? Get it off your hands and leave us with all the risk." Pension funds are doing. Sell, Mortimer, sell. Get rid of it. And selling it for dealers for 30 cents on the dollar. And then a couple of days later, they were all given a little window of opportunity to do that. And then a couple of days later, Trump announces that they're going to bail out all of the corporations. Not giving them like all this money, they gave them a little bit of money, but they were going to guarantee the holders of the bonds 100 cents. A lot of those bond holders were broker dealers that purchased the paper from the pension funds a few days earlier for 30 cents on the dollar.
Right.
And now the government comes in, the value of the stock shoots up. They knew that this would result in a massive upward spike in spite of the economy being shut down. These people, they're really good at what they do. And, I mean, they've had a long time to strategize this out. Every detail has been taken into consideration. This is a heist. This is. And we are going to find out really soon if Trump went to be the getaway driver, is he taste, or is he really what he presented himself to be when he was running?
Yeah, I'm not holding out too much hope on the latter.
I wouldn't. I'm not holding out any hope at all on it, because at this point it's like, you hope for the best but expect the worst. I expect the worst from Donald Trump. He hasn't shown me anything that I can say I'm optimistic about him anymore.
But he's just left
the station a long time ago.
He's just one man that was put in power by a fucking behemoth of Luciferian child fucking scum. And I mean, look at Kiyosaki saying that they're telling him to stop talking about this, stop saying these things, stop talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably
Kiyosaki's the only early on. He was the only one who was talking about with the pension funds.
The only one.
He was the only one.
The only guy.
He was the only guy. All right. Now here we are, 6 months into this thing, and still not a normal part of the, because of COVID, Black Lives Matter, COVID, they have been distractions to keep people from looking and investigating what the truth is, what really happened. Now they have another problem. They created $6.5 trillion at thin air, right?
So, what is
and
it?
They put that on deposit with these corporations, with the bailouts of their bonds. The corporate fund was different when they bought out the collateralized mortgage obligations back in 2009 and 2010 and 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Because that paper was being held by banks. Now when you go in and you shore up the corporate, you are putting money into the coffers of these corporations.
Right.
And these corporations are then in turn going to spend the money. They need things. They're competing. They have one foot in this fantasy world that oligarchs have created for themselves, and the other is in the real world of honest measures. And at some point, it has to be paid. Like the day, hopefully, that we're all going to find out it's completely bankrupt bullshit. Never made a profit organization that is just reading its books and survive on borrowed money that it gets from the Fed. Mm-hmm. Its friends in the central bank. Without the central bank, Amazon's business model is a complete and utter failure. But now, hey, $15 a share. Don't tell me the truth. I don't want to know. Right?
outrageous.
Never made a profit. What, 20 years? Not one. People see memes where people say, "Oh, Amazon made $11 billion." No, Amazon borrowed $11 billion. Didn't make it any money. Their biggest money maker or cash revenue machine was their contract with the CIA.
Right.
But they lost that contract.
They did.
To Microsoft Israel. All right. So, which is another corrupt corporation.
Which is what?
So another corrupt, highly corporation that's controlled by a bunch of nefarious people. Yeah. And so these people they have sold us completely the river. And say, oh my God, whoa. The reality is we're responsible. Yeah?
Yep.
We were too easily pacified with their entertainment.
Yep.
And we had gotten addicted to soft life. And we had thrown away our moral authority.
And
without
just lied
authority,
to.
you cannot demand to be treated morally, can you?
No, we've been lied to every fucking day by the corporate media, right? And you got the left.
The lies we tell others, the worst of the lies are ourselves.
Right. Your voice is still
problem
is
we
bad,
can
man.
excuse it by saying they've lied to us. No, you lied to yourself.
Well, yeah, that's true too. There's a lot of smart people out there and a lot of these politicians that could, if there really are checks and balances, if there's really people out there that are not just completely for themselves. Even Ron Paul saying, he goes to a certain distance, but
let me give you this story here, okay? This goes back to the part of the scorpion and the frog story. I'm sure I've told you this.
Yeah.
The skin comes up to a frog sitting at the edge of a riverbank and says, "Hey, can you give me a ride across?" And this frog looks at it and says, "Are you crazy? You're a scorpion. If I give you a ride across, you're going to sting me and I'll die." And the scorpion says, "What? That's because if I sting you too." Frog thinks about it and goes, "Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense if he did that. All right, get on my back. I'll swim across the river." Halfway across, the scorpion stings him. With the frog's last breath, he says to the scorpion, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." The scorpion says, "Well, it's my nature."
Yeah.
All right, so we've been playing with scorpions because, when you have moral authority, you have the objective or the rationality of thought, to be able to identify good from evil. And you would say, "I'm sorry, I'm going to avoid you. I don't play with scorpion. Get yourself across the pond yourself, Mr. Scorpion. See you later. Get away from them." No, but they say, "Well, if you do this, you're insensitive. You do that, you're Semite. If you do that, you're this." No, it's rational. Now, we could say that because of propaganda and influences that have taken changes in education, that they were softening that, and it took them decades to do it.
Right.
But that's still not an excuse.
No,
ignorance is no excuse in the act of law, whether you're talking about the laws of nature, the laws of God, or the laws of man. It doesn't work. So we failed ourselves. So first, unlock ourselves. That then we can regain our moral authority. And once you've regained it, moral authority, then you have the power of nature. You have the power of God. You have the power of Logos to stand up against the tyrannical enemies. Why are people wearing their masks? Because they're morally defeated. They don't even have the moral authority to look at these people and say, fucking ridiculous thing on my face. This is the stupidest goddamn thing I've ever seen. First off, there's been hundreds of so-called viruses and transmittable diseases. We're still here. All right? I'm not going to stop my life for an idiot. You know? So people go around and I understand in some places you do something if you're in a place that absolutely requires it. But no place absolutely. Every single state has a disability exemption for the masks. So claim a disability. Right?
Right.
Say, I've got a deviated septum. That means I have to take in as much oxygen as possible. I cannot have it impeded in any way. Go pay a doctor $50 to give you a letter to test that. Even if it's, there are many doctors who do it.
I know what I do now is I just I'll just put on I'll put a mask on and I'll just cover my mouth and I'll leave my nose out. If anybody says anything to me, I'm just going to be like walk away. I'm going to look at them.
Right,
and be
they
like,
usually don't.
I'll be like,
walk
away.
That's an easy way. The non-confrontation, which is certainly understandable. There's a degree to that. I don't criticize anybody who does it. I've just simply myself. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, if I got to go in and grab something, but my nose is going to be out, and if anybody brings up some shit and tries to friggin' shame me, I'm going to be like, walk away now. I'm going to look at them with fucking crazy eyes and say, you are going to walk away from me now, and you are going to stop talking to me. And if they don't, I'm going to be like, I'm going to fucking start yelling at them. I'm just going to be like, fuck off. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. This system's doing whatever they think that they want to do or that they should do. That's what I'm going to do. So, fuck them. It's just...
Well, hopefully people... There's always trigger events. What the next trigger events are going to be. When they're going to take place, I don't know.
Whatever the mainstream media decides. That's what the trigger event will be. And then people...
What they allow the trigger event, but it doesn't have to necessarily be the main media. It could be other things as well. It could be... It could be social media.
So
that battle. I mean, they're
if we look at this right now, you said to me the other day, if people go back to work, that there will be a hyperinflation.
That's what I was leading to with this one. This time it's different. It's not like 2010, 2011. But putting all this money now in private hands, this money now is much more difficult to control because these corporations, though some of them are doing it, these corporations are not keeping these funds on deposit at the New York Fed. This is money gone into their... Oh, they have to spend that money. Right? They spend that money, they have to do that to justify, otherwise they have to pay dividends. Once you put money into a corporate coffers, the money has to go somewhere. It can't sit there. They're not a hedge fund. So that money is now being into circulation. Why these companies are purchasing assets with the money. They're going out and acquiring their competitors. Now, more and more people, that money is trickling down into people's hands. They're looking at really, really serious problem with too many dollars chasing, fewer or more dollars chasing the same amount of goods and services. That's the cause of inflation. That's the devaluation of the money. Now, how do you stop that from taking place? Look at what they did in 2011, 2012. They forced banks to put that money that used to bail them out. That money was not within those institutions. Can
you say that again? You were breaking up. You're breaking up still from time to time.
Oh, well, the money that was given to them from the in the bailouts in 2008, 2009 collapse,
right,
was put on deposit at the New York Federal Reserve Bank, not in the bank of, let's say, J.P. Morgan Chase, or Wells Fargo, or the others.
Right.
They were required to keep that money on deposit, which prevented that money from circulating down into the economy.
Right. Okay.
They were allowed to access the money, but they could only access it under certain circumstances. Well, this time around, they cannot do that, because now we're not dealing with only a handful of banking corporations, which are members of their own Federal Reserve. Now we're dealing with corporations all over the United States and around the world. Okay.
All right, so we're dealing with places all over the world, right?
Yeah, when you're dealing with a corporation, let's say like AT&T, they're a multinational corporation now.
Right.
You transfer $50 billion into their accounts, it's going to go around the world. All the dollars are going to be spent everywhere, and that's going to cause a Weimar Republic to take place. And that's what they saw, but that's what they saw happening. Just even a little bit of economic activity, more businesses opening up, spending taking place back in June and July, in early July, put a spook in them, and they immediately came out with the thing, which was way ahead of schedule, which was ridiculous because viruses don't spread in the summer.
That's right. Yeah. They just don't. But now they do. But now they do magically, fucking magically. They spread.
Never happened before, right? And they said nobody asked the basic question because they neutered the doctors. The doctors who were we're talking mainly the private practitioners.
And you guys, you mentioned something about talking directly with some of those people or communicating with some of those people that were standing out there. Erickson and those guys, or no?
Yeah. We're
okay.
in the process of communicating with them now, trying to get them sorted out.
So that they are in better position to speak out?
Well, I mean, no way. They went and talked about the hydrochloroquine.
Right.
All right. Did it is because they want to practices up and running again. You know, most of these private practitioners who, they're in debt up to their eyeballs. Big
right.
overhead. Student loans. Got sorts of obligations. They've got mortgages to make.
Yeah.
And now they're looking at the numbers, their account, and saying, if you don't get your patients back, you won't be in business next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it makes it. They had to take over the medical, some of these larger medical organizations, Johns Hopkins, those.
They've always been corrupt.
Sure. But the thing is that
I'm talking about your independent, your chiropractor, not your corporate practice, not one of these equity fund owned. Talk about the guy who actually, the doctor of, right?
The
There's
doctor of what?
them out there across the United States.
Well, I mean, like Erickson out there in California, he's got 8 of these, urgent care places that he owns and operates. And he was one of them that made it to D.C. to speak with the other ones. But of course they were fucking beaten down and fucked in their friggin' medical asses because they were telling the truth. The censorship should be
what
like
they should have done is, if they want to get their patients back, structure their private practice, or I should say private membership association.
Right, that's what you were talking about. And how do they
and
not
then
know
convert
about
a number
this?
of patients to members of patients, and then they could be honest with them and talk about hydrochloroquine until they're blue in the face.
How do they not know about this? How do they not know about these private public practices? Or is it just typical?
Well, most doctors are not good people.
They're not what?
Doctors most doctors are really not good business people.
No.
All right. So they tend to leave the legal stuff to their attorneys, financial stuff to their accountants. And I mean, they're smart people, really smart people, but their heads are filled with,
Yeah, they're just regimented. They're just regimented in like they're regimented like a fucking like a factory manufacturing line. You know, next,
right. Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Well, you like that, and the practitioners, you go in, you go to a dentist, and you don't go to one of these corporate dentists, right? Every area has them now. They're in shopping, right? Mm-hmm. These are not doctors. These are corporate facilities. The doctors are paid, $100,000, $150,000 a year. A dentist to be on staff. Have no responsibilities for the business. The business is completely corporate, so they run it like a McDonald's, a franchise. The doctors have no say. They sign confidentiality agreements when they take the job. They're required by their corporate governance to say whatever their employees say. And this is a doctor would be like, oh, the hospitals are overrun, but then quietly Dr. QT would be saying the hospitals are empty. And after a few doctors who publicly got fired, a lot doing it anonymously, they wanted to be in the shadows. And
yeah, your voice.
There's tons of information out there about the non-doctors and nurses that are talking about how this whole COVID-19 thing has been an absolute utter fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I work with private practitioners, and it's like, look, right? If you continue how the narrative to be directed to your patients by the media and by the politicians, you won't be in practice. You won't be in business anymore. And then what are you going to do? You think you're good at these corporations?
Yeah, our connection has been just really, really kind of the worst that it's ever been on there. Let me see. Hey,
is this a little better now?
Yeah,
maybe
it just dropped. It sounds like maybe there's still a drag or something on your bandwidth or something. The call just dropped.
It just dropped. It must just be the service.
Right.
We're having the same problem last night trying to watch something. We're getting
the thing is, do you know how much speed that you're actually getting from the provider? If you did a speed test, you'd be able to tell. I would reboot the equipment as soon as you get a chance. I mean, it usually takes only less than 5 minutes to do.
Right.
Because the bandwidth doesn't stay the same all the time. It will drop down. The performance of it will drop down, and you have to get a reboot of the main modem or something for it to do that. But if you're trying to stream, I think we got 200, so it can, you can be watching a movie or something like that, but there's plenty of other bandwidth to be able to, do a VoIP or something like that. But
should be, right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much.
Drop off again. I'll unplug and replug in the whatchamacallit?
Yeah.
The who's the whatchamacallit?
The whatchamacallit, yeah. That's what they
I'll
that's
do
the name of it.
Whatchamacallit, and add a little leverage to it, give it a swift kick.
If you can, sprinkle a little bit of the hydroxychloroquine on it, man. That'll do the trick.
Exactly.
They're even saying things about now that it has some kind of thing where it will attack cancer cells, and there's something about it that is very that can work for people with cancer and things like that. And that's the last thing the system wants. They don't want but they create disease, they make disease, and then they make money off disease, and that's the way it's always been. You and I both know that. Most people think that after all this time, they still don't know. They still don't know what cancer is. They still don't know how to deal with it, other than shoot the body up with toxic fucking chemotherapy and things like that. So that's the kind of system that we live in, where we're lied to every day about disease. We're lied to every day about fucking anything military, anything financial, anything political, and then we're divided after someone gets elected as the president. I mean, how is it that the American people cannot, you get the people that just don't give a fuck. They just don't give a shit about anything political. They don't vote. They don't do this. They don't do that, right? Then you get the people that get to a point where they're like, well, my life's kind of shit. Maybe I'll just start following politics and try to be, an intellectual. And then they choose one of these fucking gangs to join. I mean, that's the basic thing. It's like, it's no different than these people, these kids growing up in these inner cities where they have to choose between a gang to join. And that's what this fucking thing is. That's what that's the closest thing that fucking melonhead fucking Jesse Ventura got close to, with the Democrips and he gave them fucking gang names, because that's what they are. They're just fucking gangs. They're fucking parasites, and they're not doing any fucking thing to help anybody. They're not doing a fucking thing to help America, because if they did, they'd lose their fucking standing. They'd lose their fucking standing, or they would be shamed or whatever. Look at what Scott Jensen, he spoke out and he won his friggin' thing. Like they were gonna, they were gonna start judging him and the medical board, and boom, now he's absolved from it. Because he was right. He stood up for what was right, and he fucking won. Just like the guy running the gym in New Jersey. He fucking won. He beat fucking Murphy, that fucking cunt governor, that ex-Goldman Sachs fucking cunt governor. And he beat him, and then the media didn't even fucking report that he won and fucking Murphy fucking lost. I'm so fucking sick of this media. These people have to understand. They have to understand that the mainstream fucking media is their fucking enemy. Their fucking enemy. NBC, ABC, CBS, our fucking enemy. End of story. Mm-hmm. They should be reduced to rubble. Right now. Reduced to fucking rubble.
You want to hear a trip?
Yeah.
This morning, I was, I'm a big fan of quoting the Benjamin Rush quote. Okay, that medical freedom has to be put into our Constitution. Otherwise, it would lead to the denial of care for common people.
Right.
And it represents the Bastille of medical science. That it's un-American and despotic. And that a medical dictatorship would rise. So I was looking up quotes. Are there additional quotes from this guy? He's like one of the founding fathers no one's ever heard of, right?
Yep.
I'm putting stuff together for some podcasts and stuff for doctors, and I like to make them aware. Have you ever heard of Benjamin Rush? Right? He warned about this, at the beginning. So I find that CBS Saturday morning, their morning show on Saturday mornings, CBS did a piece on Benjamin Rush. And of course, what they did is, Benjamin Rush was great. Of course, they never mentioned anything of his quote about a medical dictatorship. Right?
No, we wouldn't want people knowing that's what
dealing
we
with
have.
the yellow fever in Philadelphia. But Benjamin Rush could never be taken seriously because Benjamin Rush promoted bloodletting.
Yeah, yeah.
which
Attack
is
is.
considered acceptable practice. Back then, they knew that, okay, if your blood is corrupted by a virus, one of the best things you can do is let out some of your blood, because immediately your body, your bones, your bone marrow, which is where your blood comes from,
Right.
your body is going to create new blood. And the blood,
Yeah.
viruses are only circulated through the body through the circulatory system,
Right.
not through the skeletal system.
Right.
So by replacing and getting rid of the bad blood, the tainted blood that's contaminated with virus, and having your body replace that with new blood that's not contaminated, you're going to feel better.
So I guess it is good to give blood, right?
Bloodletting has been part of medical science for thousands of years. Even today, there are therapies now, because of Rockefeller. They don't do it anymore, or it's not promoted by, in general practice as it was 200 years ago before the Rockefellers took over medicine.
Right.
It was pretty much common sense.
Yeah.
But today there are still plenty of holistic medical practices that do bloodletting with leeches. Right?
Yeah, well, at least you know it's going to stop bleeding at some point, right? You don't want to cut yourself and accidentally bleed out. But leeches, yeah, depends. I mean, are they
leeches have a thing in their saliva that deadens the pain. You don't feel it.
So right, okay.
They put leeches on various parts of your body and just let them suck blood, then take them off. Let them fatten up with your blood, boom. Yeah. But that what happens with your body? Your body automatically goes to replace the blood.
Right.
And then people feel better. They're cancer patients, there's all of this thing that people are like, oh, blood, not cutting yourself and doing that type of thing, but mainly just like through a controlled thing, like mainly through leeches. They've been using leeches for bloodletting for thousands of years. And it's worked very, very well because the science of it's not complicated. It's like your blood is tainted. You've got a virus in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing to do is let out the blood, not too much that you die, but let out some of it so that your bones will start producing more blood to replace it with clean blood, fresh blood.
Well, I mean, your blood is mostly water, and most people aren't getting any good clean water, right? I mean, you said you mentioned we were talking over the last number of months. We were talking about Spanish flu and how a lot of people drank baking soda and water to alkalize their body fluids, to alkalize their blood. It's good for your liver. I haven't fucking done it in months. There was a time there a few months ago that I was getting up in the morning and I was doing it, and now because of all this shit, I've dropped the ball, man. All I'm doing is fucking thinking about this shit, this fucking garbage, and I should just be moving forward.
Let me finish my point about Benjamin Rush.
Yeah, sorry about
that. Somebody along the way, all right, went in the planning stage of this, was probably, because they war room all this stuff, right? None of this stuff happens by accident.
Yep.
There's contingencies for everything.
Yep.
Who could they go back and any of our founding fathers, all right, early medicine before, like the Rockefellers, before abiotic medicine took over, all right? Who could they go back? Who was influential in medicine in the United States in the early days?
In the United States in the early days, medically?
In the United States. Well, Benjamin Rush. Benjamin Rush was instrumental in bringing about the whole medical system that we have, or that we had.
Right.
Prior to the early 1970s. All right?
Yeah.
And it was under that system that it prospered and really grew.
Yeah.
So they don't want people hearing that quote from Benjamin Rush that, that if we're not careful, we do not allow medical freedom in the Constitution. that it will result in a medical dictatorship will rise.
That's what we got.
And this will stop medical science. This will basically medical science is the key. No medical student, no pre-med student can get into a medical school without writing a thesis. Okay?
Yeah.
So every doctor, every chiropractor, every veterinarian, they got to where they were because they understood they had to write a thesis about the efficacy of a scientific approach to medicine. They had to do their research and they had to write about it in their thesis in order for them to be accepted into a good medical school.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Yep.
So you talk to a doctor and you tell them, like, where is the empirical evidence? Where is the efficacy of this theory that is being promoted by Fauci? Can you give me one shred of efficacy that you've heard about coronavirus to date? And they all say, you're right, none, zero, nothing. Okay? No, that's the isolation of the virus. Where's the photographic evidence on the 1,000 volunteers case studies where they've analyzed their funds, put them through I forgot what they call it. It's a machine that spins the blood and separates everything, all the elements.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then they go in a micron telescope and they take pictures of every layer.
Yeah, we must have been looking at some of the same stuff because I heard this. I kind of heard this same breakdown. Like they didn't use 100 people.
I read a thing on Rappaport. He talked about it the other day.
Right. Okay. That's exactly what I heard. Yeah. Oh, it was one of his blog posts. Yeah, I read this. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's where I heard it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I asked a doctor friend of mine about it. He said, "Yeah, you're right." Okay. So as a private practitioner, are you going to allow these people who are using to present a case, whether it's wearing masks or the virus in general, and there's no efficacy of the theory that's being presented? Right? So, I mean, right now, because of the state medical boards, because of the control of the system, the insurance companies are saying all of your patients, you got to take the temperature and they have to wear masks. You want to get around that? Become a private membership association. That gives them no jurisdiction. They're no longer your patients. Now they're your members. And you can, the freedom of association has not been infringed.
Yeah.
You know? So while they're shutting everything down, the private clubs are still open.
Right, yeah. You were saying.
You know, I live right next to a private golf course, right across the street. And everything is closed except for the golf course. Why? This golf course is a private membership association, and the state and the county have no jurisdiction to shut them down. They're staying open.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are out there every day playing golf, buzzing around on the golf carts every day. The community center, all the recreation in this community that I live in, it's all closed. But they have a swimming pool. Oh my God, it's open one day, closed the next. Oh my God, this, that.
Even with fucking chlorine.
The golf course is open.
Chlorine doesn't work anymore, by the way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they just make it up as they go along. That's just one thing they're doing, is just making this up and adding to it. And there's nothing but shame. You know, Smash Mouth played this, this Sturgis concert. And I get this feed from Reddit. Apparently, it's some kind of Chinese fucking something. Somebody said something that it was a connection to some Chinese fucking propaganda or whatever. But it was just constant shit comes through from like Newsweek, where European people that are abiding by the virus protocols are looking at Americans saying Americans just don't care. They're killing each other, and I just send back to Newsweek. I'm like, this story's fucking bullshit. You're fucking bullshit, Newsweek. You're a fucking rag. And I just send it back to them. They're not going to get away with that. They're not going to get away with putting this fucking shit out there. I send it right back at them. You know, I'm nobody, but I'm going to fucking send back to them that you are shit. This story is shit. and people are going to realize that Newsweek and CBS and all these other organizations that should be reduced to fucking rubble, as I said, they have no credibility. They have no fucking credibility. And if the American people realize that they have no credibility and they've been lying to them for years about every fucking thing and dividing them with race and all kinds of this shit, we wouldn't be having this problem. We would not be having this problem because, largely people just know that there's nothing to fear with a virus. They need to understand the people that they need to fear, or at least use their fear and drive it in the right direction, is against people like Gates and Fauci and the CDC and the World Health Organization that should be, again, reduced to fucking rubble. These organizations are worthless, lying, killing organizations, and they should be reduced to fucking rubble in the middle of the fucking night. And when people come back to work there, it's no longer a place that you can work because it's rubble. They are fucking garbage. Redfield, somebody should put a fucking price on his head. Burks and all of these other fucking minions of the system. And Trump, if he doesn't fucking stand up soon and fucking stop, his beloved America from fucking falling and being reduced to fucking rubble, he's no fucking better than them. No fucking better than them.
That's true. We're gonna see. We're tail of the tape is coming here. The rubber's being.
Yep.
But just getting back to with BS, getting that story out about it. That was clearly an attempt by BS to discredit Benjamin Rush.
Oh, sure.
So that if anybody brought his quote about a medical tyranny, about a medical dictatorship would rise.
Yeah, wouldn't matter because he was for bloodletting.
He was for bloodletting. They could say, "Oh, he's nothing." They could use discredit. Oh, that guy was a quack. He was into bloodletting. Without any explanation. Well, I mean, that's how you're going to answer it. It's a very juvenile and dealing with it. It's an attempt to try and anyone bring out Benjamin Rush. And if they did this back in the 80s, why would they do it? Why would they run a story about him in the middle of the night? They've never story about him in previous pandemic.
Because if what he said was implemented, we wouldn't be going through this right now.
Well, what he did is he warned everybody that a dictatorship should rise. What is happening now? This is a rise of a medical dictatorship. Mandatory vaccines.
Yeah.
All right. The tracking, all of this stuff. This is a medical dictatorship. Yeah. Oh, you won't be able to plane. You won't be able to travel. You won't be able to unless you prove you. That's medical.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, man. People in the military should find that know that this shit's going on. Ex-military, they should go into, and I mean, like, whatever it takes, man. Like, if somebody in the military, somebody that's at a high level that realizes this shit's going on, you just bring some of your fucking boys in and just fucking arrest them. Fucking shoot fucking Fauci in the back of the head. I'm sorry, but that's it. He is a killer, and he should be treated as such.
Military, you're right. When it comes to the military, everybody needs to go back and watch Kathy Briggs' interview that she did back in the 90s. It's not,
You're breaking up. What? Who? Kathy who?
Kathy Briggs.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
Oh, Google her. She did a video. Her husband was a high-ranking Army officer. And all this pedophilia and, homosexuality and stuff was going on back then. And she blew the whistle on the whole thing.
Was it Kathy with a C or?
Briggs. I think it's Briggs.
Yes.
Briggs.
Husband.
If you Google it, there's some YouTubes on. I can send you a link to it.
All right, yeah, if you can. Let me see images.
And it's a fascinating, well, 6-7 hours in total, where she talks about everything, even the control that our tiny hat Italian friends had over the U.S. military.
What was that again?
She talked about the control that our tiny hat Italian friends had over the U.S. military, even back in the 90s.
Yeah, send me that, because all I'm seeing is fucking obituaries.
Oh, I think she passed away.
Oh, okay.
Recently.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, but if you look on YouTube, if you look for her videos. Middle name, I think it begins with a pre. Okay.
Kathy Briggs. I'm not sure. I guess I'm so fucking frustrated anymore, dude. Just from the shit that's online, just the absolute fucking disinformation that's online, the stupid fucking people, the worthless fucking people that are truly better off dead because they're nothing but obstacles. Sad to say, but they're truly just fucking obstacles in the way of. And they're dead already, because they're at that age. The people that are like 40 and above that have catered to people that sit there and can't wait for Tony Fauci to fucking say something, other than death fear. They're worthless. These are worthless fucking people. America is I don't even know if it's worth saving, dude. Honestly, I don't even know if it's a fictional place.
If America goes, the rest of the world's going to fall into a nightmare situation.
Well,
but there are certain things that are worth fighting for. That's why it's good. Like, everybody should go watch The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Get the extended version. Take 20 hours. All the 6 movies, and that's entertainment. But the author Tonkin, whatever his name, author of it,
Tolkien.
This is the scope, and we're dealing with Sauron. We're dealing with orcs and goblins here.
Truly,
and their spies are everywhere. The same thing, like. The Tree of Kings is dead. There's no flowers on it. All right, but the king will rise again if we allow it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to make America. We have to return America to the promise of the world, and the only way we can do that is by, first and foremost, gaining our moral authority. A flawed creature. There's no question about it.
It's a tall order.
But people are doing really great things. But when it defies to destroy evil. So what are we dealing with now? We're dealing with we're dealing with very, very evil people. So, and it doesn't take a lot. It just takes a handful of people. Fight the fight, Yeah,
well, they don't have any idea what's going on. They have no fucking clue. I mean,
letting America fall and just let America fall. I agree. I'm black-pilled in that way to a degree too. But then the other side, if you extrapolate out, what if it did happen? What if it went away completely? The world's in very, very serious trouble without us. So,
well, most of them hate us.
Enough to lose. We just haven't realized yet. The majority of people have just not realized that we don't have anything to lose. So go ahead and lose it. But the time is coming because they keep pushing the envelope. They won't stop. If they would just let things alone, they're giving people, the reason why people are doing it is because they really think, like, they're thinking to themselves, okay, we've been through these down cycles a number of times over the last 30, 40 years. Right? Every couple of years, one of these takes place. And it leads to like the tech bubble blowing up, the housing bubble blowing up, pension funds blowing up, this blowing up, that blowing up. But we always land on our feet and keep going. And that's what people are thinking. Like we're going to get past it. We're at some point, turn it all back again, and we're going to be fine. And that's where, the realization that there isn't any turning this back on again. Not the way people think. Not under a medical dictatorship. Not in a world you're tracked and traced everywhere you go.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Fuck that bullshit, man.
And that's the way when you talk to people about it, they can't believe it. Oh, that would never happen. Oh, that would never happen. So they're just holding on. But we get closer to the point where more and more people are now to realize that, wait a minute, we're getting screwed here. The doctors are starting to realize it. That's hopeful because they are the front line in the war, and it's a war. And if they start fighting, they will mobilize people to change because as long as the small practitioner, the private practices are quiet and going along, the crap that's coming out of the media and the politicals and the finance world, then everything's going to fall apart. They're starting to realize they're running out of time. They get millions of dollars in the bailout. A lot of them got $100,000, but that only runs their operation for a few months.
Yeah, I don't know how people can sit back and think that they get $1,200. And of course, the people that lost their jobs that are getting not only are they getting unemployment, but then they were getting $600. They were getting like $2,400 plus whatever. Some to the point where even if their job came back, they would be like, well, I'm making more money on unemployment than that type of thing. And they're fucking dumb. They'd be like, all right, well, my job came back, I'll go to that. But if I lose my job again, then I'll just, then I can collect unemployment again. But without that, and then they still haven't gotten anything. They still haven't. They're talking about throwing some kind of COVID, plan, a financial, right? There's a lot of people that are losing everything, and none of it makes any sense. I'm going to try to download that Tom Woods thing.
Maybe that's the thing. He's got to, if you're, and listen, I'm not giving Trump passes or excuses, but when you look around, all these people are asleep. The only thing that wakes them up, you got to shake them. So maybe if we just go along with this and let them get a taste of what's coming, eyes up, and I can take advantage of it. What's the case?
Right.
That the problem with him is he's a box of chocolates. Right now, action is called for swiftly, and for us, swiftly would be tomorrow. It's like you can't pull the trigger too. August is not the time to pull. It's just the mind frame people are in when it comes to August. It's like, don't do it in the fall, because November comes around quick once you get past Labor Day.
Right.
So you don't want to do it before then, because that gives your opposition, it gives
right
the state, or whatever you want to call it, enough time to regroup and present a real battle.
Yeah.
Going into the fall, and you take a chance on losing it.
Wow.
Fire both of your battles, like as late as you possibly can. Probably the first week of November. Give them get them violence right before the election. This guy is easy to beat. All you got to do is come up, give the people something to give people something that they wanted, that you promised.
Right.
And those people will go, okay, now you've won me back. I'll go out and vote for you again, and we'll see what we can come up with.
I just don't buy what I don't buy. I think it's the perfect divide and conquer that scenario that they put together, where they're doing this, that the Democrats are doing this, trying to extend the lockdowns, and they're trying to do this so that they can hurt Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a
it's
part
easy
of
to
it.
Turn around and hurt themselves.
Well, I think that's part of it, but at the same time, I think that in the grand scheme of things, it's working to divide people enough, which is the key. It's always the key, to divide people enough so that they can't see who's fucking them, and it's the people at the top that put Pelosi and Obama and the Clintons and Trump and the Bushes and Reagan and all these other on the right. It's working perfectly for them, because people think on the right that they're trying to do this to ruin Trump's chances of getting elected. And I mean, it's just, I'm just not buying that he's gonna, you hope, but I'm just not buying that he's gonna fucking do anything at all. I think it's just, we're at a stalemate because that is the way the whole thing rolled out. His whole demeanor as he was running for president, all of the things that he said that he did not really have to say, or he could have said them in a much less caustic way. Everything that he did, everything that he was, I don't know whether he was instructed to say or whatever, was meant to drive, to make the left hate him and hate what he's about. And then and of course there was a lot of people that like, oh, there's no way he's going to win. There's no way he's going to win. There's no way. And then he wins, and then they lose their fucking minds and they shit their fucking pants and their diapers. And this is what we've had to look at now for he won, and I was just like, wow, okay, whatever. But we know what the American presidency is. There's the CEO, and they answer to the banking and the financial. They answer to the 1%, or more importantly, the 0.1%, the Rockefellers and a lot of these other people that have incredible wealth and steal from us and murder people in other countries, in the American people's names. So it's just I don't know. I'm kind of skewed. I always look at it in a negative way. I very rarely see the positives. I try, but we knew this was coming a long time. I mean, how did we not know? I mean, how were we not completely accurate in all the times and all the years? That we've had conversations that a medical martial law was not the actual fucking card that they were always going to fucking play. Always going to play it. Because it works. It works. The medical martial law. You felt a little bit of it back in 2009 with the H1N1 thing. Felt a little bit of that there, but they didn't, they declared a pandemic, but they didn't lock anything down. You called it in January when we were talking about it. We were talking about the virus over there and the outbreak and whether it was real, whether it was whatever it was. And you said, if they lock people down here in America like they did over in China, this is the beginning of Endgame. This is the financial theft. And then we thought, oh, it's going to be a couple weeks. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It's going to be 4 weeks. It's going to do this. And they have not taken their foot off the fucking pedal. They have not fucking done it. They've not fucking done it.
Nope, it rolls on.
And it rolls and it rolls on. and it's disgusting.
Continues.
And I'll say it right now. I hope somebody fucking kills Tony Fauci. I hope somebody fucking puts a bullet in the back of his head or fucking tortures him. I don't fucking care. But him and Bill Gates need to die. They need to fucking die. They need to fucking die. They are fucking foul, vile pieces of shit. Deborah Birx, you can throw that fucking airheaded cunt in there, and you can throw fucking Redfield and all these other compromised pieces of shit over at the CDC that has never fucking done, that's covered up for years that they were given fucking autism and brain damage and all kinds of neurological fucking diseases and fucking conditions to kids, and they knew it, and that's what fucking caused Del Bigtree, who used to produce the doctors, that propaganda fucking cunt show that was on in the mornings, catering to who? Catering to the mothers that stayed at home to watching their kids, cater to all of these people that they can manipulate with all the latest diseases and the new vaccines and all that shit. And then Bigtree found out about William Thompson, the whistleblower at the CDC, saying that they were that all this stuff, they were hurting people for a long time, hurting people for years, and now this Bigtree's got this whole thing going, and I think I'm going to donate some money to them, man, because this is the only thing that this is one group that is one of the only groups. I mean, you've got you got Kennedy Jr. and you got some of these other people that need to stand up to these fucking vile dragon serpents like fucking Dershowitz, that motherfucker who would rather see everybody in the fucking world die before they find out that he was fucking kids on fucking Epstein Island. He was his fucking lawyer, and he knew he was fucking kids. And that right there, you don't even have to find evidence that he was fucking kids, that he was supporting a pedophile. Death to you, off with your fucking head, slowly with a fucking small knife. You die, Dershowitz, you fucking cunt. You fucking cunt. You're dead already. And that's probably why he wants people to be fucking forcibly fucking injected. These people need to be fucking taken out. They need to be taken out. And I hope it's from my fucking mouth to God's ears. These fucking people need to die. They need to die in fucking mass.
Mm-hmm.
They need to die in fucking mass, because that is what their plan is for everybody else. We know that. We fucking know it. We know that they want to fucking hurt people. We know that they're hurting babies and injecting them with fucking poison and cancer viruses and retroviruses that cause all kinds of fucking cancers and leukemias. They're giving it to people. And Del Bigtree knows it. So I got to fucking donate and just hope to God that these organizations can weed these fucking scumbags out. And hopefully the mobs, the real fucking mobs, with the real right, and the real fucking, what's in our hearts and in our minds we know is right, as we rip the arms and legs off of these cocksuckers one at a time. That would be the only thing. That would be the only thing that would be right, is public fucking murder of fucking Bill Gates and Fauci and all these fuckers at the CDC and the World Health Organization. They need to die. They need to die. They've been killing people for fucking years. It's provable. It's fucking provable. They need to die. They need to die now. End of story. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that this is too radical. They need to fucking die. All these groups that they're funding, all these people that are fucking overthrowing cities and all this other shit. We know the police have their part in this whole fucking system. We know they have this part in the whole fucking system. But these, these people that think that they're going to take over fucking cities and that they're going to change America by fucking looting and burning fucking cities down, they're just going to be murdered later by the same people that are putting them in power now. Or whatever power that they fucking think that they have.
Well, but people don't read history. They don't. The history. This is all part of the propaganda war.
Yeah.
This is an evolution. That's the place.
Yeah.
Sorry
if I'm getting
results
nuts, man.
Will be the same
I'm sorry if I'm getting nuts, but I mean, I'm so fucking done with this. I'm so fucking done, dude. I'm fucking done like dinner on this motherfucker. This is gone too far, too fucking long, and the American people are just fucking worthless. When you look at when I saw the video of the thousands and thousands of people over in the UK that were marching and saying no fucking more, no fucking masks, fuck you. They need to
what about Germany?
Oh, in Germany as well, dude. Yeah, Germany as well.
Germany,
oh, yeah.
2 million people. 2 million people showed up.
Yeah.
Now,
American people. Yeah.
Like in September into Washington D.C.
What was that again?
But he has, you know.
I didn't get what you just said last 10, 15 seconds. 10 seconds. What about D.C.? You said Germany, and you said, and then you said D.C.
Yeah, have a rally in D.C. like they had in Germany.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who's going to fucking do that in this country? Americans are that's why we are a joke. We're kind of a joke around the world because they look at us and they know how fucking dumb the American people are. They fucking know that the majority of the American people are fucking stupid lemmings. They make fucking these college students. They weaponize fucking college students, and next thing you know, they're taking over fucking Chicago. They're burning and looting fucking. I mean, they're just trashing. They're trashing fucking showcases and going in and stealing fucking everything. They're stealing someone else's life. They're going in there and they're stealing someone else's prosperity. People start a business, they go in there to make their life better, and these fucking thugs and mongrels and just filth go in and steal their fucking life. They go in and thoughtlessly just steal people's shit and their lives and their prosperity, stealing food out of their children's mouth. This is what they've fucking turned people into, and this and more so, like you were saying before, what people have allowed themselves to become. What people have allowed themselves to be fucking turned into. They don't have the common fucking sense that they were born with to be able to figure out that the entire system, black people have definitely gotten the fucking shitty end of the stick. There is no doubt. There is no doubt. But equally, we're all getting fucked across the board.
We have to be all surprising. All right, and the more they push this, the more outside they really don't have a lot of power because their power is all based on consensus. Okay, and they're trying the same narrative with this COVID as they did with change.
With what?
They're trying to shame people into believing that because things you could switch your life. With the climate change debate,
oh yeah,
it was effective to a point. Now it affected everything, and now it's going to be like, show us your empirical evidence, or shut the fuck up. And that's
they don't have to. I mean, they really don't even have to do that. They've just got everybody buying into it. You know, I mean, so many people. Even that John Roberts. You remember that video of him saying, "Oh yeah, it's not." The hot mic was on, and John Roberts was like, "Oh yeah, it's not."
Let me back this up and give you an example.
Yeah.
When you went to the chiropractor, well, you know, it's better for the economy than to lose people in your family. All right.
Yeah.
That is purely a product of manipulation and mind control.
Sure.
She's suffering from Stockholm syndrome, basically. All right.
Sure.
Now, your chiropractor had said to her, Mary, let me tell you something. I am a chiropractor. I'm a medical professional. And as a medical professional, we have to look at things that are called scientific facts, empirical evidence. Everything has to get retested, and it has to be tested over a wide scope of people. And the evidence has to be presented. And without that evidence, you don't make policy on that. And so far, we don't have nothing other than rumor, innuendo, and everything coming from the media. So take your mask off. Chances are Is there something out there that could get you sick? Yes. But there's 1,000 things that could get you sick, not COVID-19.
Right.
You cross the street and get hit by a car. All right?
Yep.
There's 1,000 things that can end your life of you or any of them. Every day, you get in your car and drive down the road. You have any idea that a semi truck is going to cross the guardrail, right, the divider, and hit you head on, and you're dead.
Right.
If it happens, there's not a damn thing you can do about it, is there? All right?
Yeah.
This happens every day in our world. People die. People are born, die. It's part of the life cycle.
Right.
What you need to do while you're alive is live. And until they can show you real evidence, don't worry about it. When people hear that from a local doctor, they have far more influence than CBS News.
Yeah.
Right? The problem we've had is to this point only until recently, and now the doctors is they are dealing like they deal with somebody with Stockholm syndrome, like somebody who is part of a cult, or somebody who's been brainwashed.
Yeah.
There's a specific way that you handle. You don't criticize them for feeling. I understand how you feel. It's totally understandable the way that you feel.
I mean, he could.
Well,
Trump could have fucking replaced Fauci a long time ago. He's got the power to be able to say, "Listen, you've not done this the right way. You've not, all of your predictions have not been right. You've gone back and forth, and then bring somebody else in."
I agree,
and he hasn't done.
I agree.
So he's just
he hasn't quoted any of the thousands of case studies, even studies that have been done by the CDC in the last 5 months, that show that the mortality rate of COVID-19 is extremely small. So he's still going on this whole cases are going up. Well, he's letting be that he's being told this is going to be the rope that hangs these people. Maybe. Is it the rope that will force people to wake up and come out of their slumber and stop listening to people in the media? Maybe. We don't. I hate to say it, but we still don't know. We won't know. At this point, we won't know for 60 days.
Yeah, well,
he's got to do something, and I just don't think he's going to do anything after Labor Day.
Cities will continue to burn. Cities will continue to. I mean, all of this violence and we're going to have to cut it after this, and I'll give you another to cap it off. And if Trump wins again, if he wins again, which I could, at this point I could kind of care less. I mean, I can see maybe some pros in it. I can't really see any pros with Biden or Kamala Harris. But we're gonna have our cities are gonna it's just gonna erupt. But if Trump wins again, it's gonna be shit's gonna be on fire. We're gonna
see the real problem is our tiny hat Italian friends,
yeah,
and the overwhelming power and the conspiring with Putin and Xiaoping, okay, in this in this Belt and Road Initiative, right?
Yep.
That's the key to all this. It's the technology transfer.
Sure.
If we lose the technology war, we are done. He knows that. The one thing that we can't say about Trump, the hope that I have is okay, what has done is he's basically telling everybody that we're getting a raw deal from China.
Right.
And if he could defeat, not the Chinese people, but if he could defeat the communist China, right, and stop the tech transfer, and basically destroy China's technology sector.
Right.
That bankrupts our tiny firms because they're all in on this.
Sure.
Okay, so the millions of the Russians that are part of this whole thing is this whole thing, remember early on, the whole thing with Putin like, saying, I'm going to continue to produce oil.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, back. And then, oh, he's buddy-buddy with them. And all this moving forward. And it happened with Intel a couple weeks ago.
What was that again?
The thing that happened with Intel.
Oh, yeah, I was just on their site because I knew
the chip manufacturer?
Yeah.
Okay. So this has huge ramifications because Intel, the processing chips, is the key because it's the key to technology going forward. If you lose that, we're behind the curve. The United States, as we know, is finished. Now, there's still value here. There's still stuff that they're going to try and break up and steal off on their own. But he has to kind of take their course. We'll see. I mean, we just don't know. We don't know. I do know this. We can eliminate Chinese dragon in 5 minutes. It isn't that big of a deal.
Right. All right.
Their military compared to ours is nothing. We still have the biggest military in the world. He should aid our greatest ally, okay, and overthrow the Bolsheviks, and then basically set up a government there and invite all of them, Jews, Muslims, and Christians in a unified government there and set up a genuine democracy.
Sure.
And seize the assets of the country, recover all the wealth that they've stolen, all the money, everything, all the money that runs all. It's all over. You could take it with the trillions of dollars stolen, that massive amounts of including all of this bailouts can be paid off, boom, in a snap. And the United States would soar at 100 years of tremendous prosperity, and he'd get his face on Mount Rushmore. He still has the opportunity to go down in history as one of the greatest presidents of all time. But his window is closing.
All right, we'll end it on that.
Next 6
months.
It's got to happen by say it's got to happen by the 20th of October. So it's at 68 days.
Right.
67 days.
We'll
66
see.
days. Let's be very occultic, right?
Sure.
He's got 6 days to turn this around, to come with major victory. If he does that, he will massive change. All of the everything will stop.
Right.
Give him capital that he can arrest George Soros, Fauci, Gates. He can do all of that if he wanted to. We'll have to wait and see. If he doesn't, if he continues to operate the way that he is operating now, then it's like, okay, he was just a placeholder put behind these people so that this very situation that we're dealing with come about, and they can bring about this big change.
Sure. Which is
so there's a couple of things that he has done by nations, and a few other things that really kind of stumble, that force their hands a little bit. So it's like, maybe we'll see. I don't know. I'm not saying be a QAnon. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
The QAnons are ridiculous. QAnons, instead of praising the guy and saying how